Hi, I'm Jessica and you're watching TStv. Today, Team Minekee is at the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital conducting interviews with hospital staff. This morning, I will be speaking with Mr. Alexander Hodge, who is a game developer at the hospital. Here is my interview with Mr. Hodge. Hi, I'm Jessica and you're watching TStv. Today, Team Minekee is at the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital conducting interviews with hospital staff. This afternoon, I'll be speaking with Alexander Hodge, who is a game developer at the hospital. Good afternoon, Alexander.
Hi, Jessica.
Can you explain your role at the Bloorview Research Institute and why does the BRI need a game developer?
Sure. So I work in the Possibility Engineering and Research Lab in the BRI here, and the focus of our lab, Pearl Lab, is on the development and evaluation of technologies which show potential in helping kids with disabilities participate meaningfully in music, in arts, in physical activities, and in their therapies.
What did you study in school?
So I studied at the University of Waterloo in the Science and Business program, but it wasn't until towards the end of my degree that I even considered game development as a career.
So how did you decide on being a game developer and why did you join this hospital?
Well, so I actually had a interest in music. Growing up, played music and was interested in music technology and human-computer interfaces for musical expression. And that sort of drove me to reach out to a professor at Waterloo in the Fine Arts Department who actually held the Canada Research Chair in Interactive Audio. And so I offered to volunteer for her, and soon after I met with her, she was awarded a grant that funded the creation of the Games Institute at Waterloo, which is a research institute focused specifically on game studies. And so all of her research was supported in some way by the development of a bespoke video game. So I kind of learned how to make video games out of necessity. And then from there, I worked as a research institute at the Games Institute there. Some of the work that we did on interactive music plugins for game engines was spun off into a startup company, which led to other opportunities for me in the gaming industry, and then which led me to Holland Bloorview. So I actually came full circle back to doing game development in a research setting by joining the lab here.
Okay, that's quite the path. What makes what you do unique, especially within a pediatric rehabilitation hospital setting?
I don't know of too many hospitals that have game developers on staff. That in and of itself is unique, but it makes sense when you consider Holland Bloorview's focus on client and family-centered care and creating personalized pathways through the healthcare system. The work that Pearl Lab does on games for therapy was really driven by listening to the needs of kids and their families who would be coming here for therapy. One of the main themes from their feedback was the need for a solution for doing therapy at home. So when a kid goes home after finishing their block of therapy with their therapist at the hospital, they don't have their therapist at home with them to sort of motivate them to do their therapies. So we wanted to what's more motivating to kids than video games, right? So we wanted to tap into the motivational aspect of gaming to support the therapy needs of the kids that we serve here.
Could you tell us about some of the games that you've helped develop at the Holland Bloorview?
Sure. So my current focus is on a game for early childhood music education for kids aged 3 to 6. And then we've also been developing a mixed reality therapy video game system called Botley's Poodle Blast. And that's designed specifically for physical and occupational therapy. And we're actually trialing that in the homes of kids with cerebral palsy right now. And the few participants that have gone through the full 12-week study period have shown functional improvements, range of motion in their upper body, as well as for improvements towards their own personal goals. So, for example, like being able to tie your shoes is one of the participants' goals. So, by manipulating physical objects in a mixed reality video game, they're actually making progress on fine motor skills development, and which translates into real-world functional improvements.
How do you design the games, and where do you get the inspiration for the games?
That's a great question. We design with a participatory approach to all of our projects, and what that means is we take feedback from the people who will ultimately be using these games for their therapy. So kids and their families attend playtesting sessions with our games. Here at the hospital, they're a tremendous amount of fun. We'll have like 8 different stations set up, each running a different game, and have kids just rotate between the sessions playing our games, and then we iterate on their feedback. And it's really a unique environment at Holland Bloorview to allow that tight sort of integration of research and sort of client feedback and input on the direction of the research. So the design of all of these games are really sort of led by listening to the needs of kids and their families, and listening to their ideas for what makes a fun video game, because kids are great at telling you what makes a fun interaction in a game.
Are there any personal stories that have inspired games?
One of the first games that I worked on called Poodle Band, and it's sort of a musical adventure game that you play with musical instruments, with real musical instruments. And the progression of the levels in that game follows a narrative arc of our little robot characters called Boodles getting together and forming a band and sort of having a musical career. They busk on the street for money, and then they go into the recording studio and record an album, and then they play a big concert for all their fans. I suppose I may have been drawing on some of my personal aspirations for a music career in arriving at that narrative.
What are some of the clients' reactions to the games?
Well, so one of the most important reactions that I've observed, I think, is kids expressing how fun it is to play the games and how it doesn't feel like doing therapy. That's one of our overarching goals with these games, is that we don't want the kids feeling like they're doing therapy when they play our games. We just want to focus on having fun, and if you have fun, you'll be more likely to come back and play our game the next day. And it's through continued sustained use of the game that we'll see functional improvements in kids.
So what do you enjoy most about your job?
Definitely the playtesting sessions that we run with kids. Most of our games support multiplayer modes, so we're able to watch kids who might be using these games for therapy purposes play along with their typically developing siblings or friends, and in a sort of shared play experience, which is so important. You know, at Holland Bloorview, we want to create a world of no boundaries for kids with disabilities, and a big part of being a kid is being able to play and have fun together.
And is there anything else that you want to tell our viewers?
Yeah, follow your nose when it comes to your studies, and find something that really interests you and pursue that.
Thank you so much, Alex, for speaking
My
with me
pleasure.
today and talking about your wonderful contributions at the Institute. I had an awesome time learning about how unique and useful your job is, and most importantly, how beneficial it is to the children. I'm Jessica.
I'm Alexander.
You're watching TStv.